Hello, good afternoon. You're watching A New Way of Being, hosted by Vataga Lecture with Andragon on Facebook Live,
On
YouTube
YouTube Live.
Live. Oh, that's all right. You could understand. I usually use both of them.
Yes. Um. hmm, Welcome to this um, life-changing and mind-expanding broadcast called a new way of being,
Hmm.
which is a concept that the Habitat is bringing to this planet to show human beings how to come together and work to create a world that works for everyone, that is unfair and unjust to no one, and which serves the greater good
No,
of
all
all
of
of
life.
life and all life forms in life.
Hmm.
She calls this concept a new
Way
way
of
of
being.
being. Um, as we speak, there is a virus which is now in a pandemic state that is sweeping across planet Earth. We will talk about this virus called the coronavirus on the next show and share information with you, compelling, incriminating information with you about the origin of this virus, about what is being done, about the intention of those who created this virus for the human race, and about how this virus was identified on one of our broadcasts, November 6th, where Lord Odin came on the show and said, "This winter will be hell for America and Canada." He was talking about the specific virus. He did not name it by name, but he talked about the consequences of this particular phenomenon would have on the lives of human beings across, in this case, North America, and as we're finding out, across the entire surface of Lady Gaia, known to you as Mother Earth and Mother Nature. This show today, we want to continue speaking about the terrorization of a god, Abatag Electra, and her family by agents working for the US and the Canadian government using unconventional weapons and doing so in bodies that are hidden
From
with
the,
cloaks of invisibility.
yes, hidden from the people.
hmm hmm So, Avatar, how are you?
No, I'm okay.
hmm You look beautiful.
Thank you.
Uh, the beauty that she is, it shows not only on the outside, but it radiates from the inside. Because as we've told you, and as she teaches, you're all beings
Of living
of
life.
living light, and you're wearing these clothes the way your clothes weigh hundreds of pounds, clothes of flesh and bones that you're wearing
You put on that birth
mhm,
on the
to
face
walk
of
the
the
face of
earth.
the earth,
Hmm.
one
One life at a
lifetime at a
time.
time, one life at a time.
Hmm.
So, let's continue talking about what's being done to this family by those who have targeted
Hmm.
this family since, in fact, even before you were born, and continues to attack, terrorize, undermine, and dismantle this family and trying to do the same to this marriage uh, for a number of decades now, are the ones who are in charge of the governments of Canada and the US. Although currently the present Canadian Prime Minister has been there for 5 years. The US President has been there for 3.5 years or so. So the governments of these two nations have been targeting and attacking Alberta Electra for a number of decades with people who have been leaders of that nation, Canada and US, over the course of these decades. But these two current leaders are the ones who are presently leading the attacks against this family using a technology that was created by gods, given telepathically to two human scientists who created two machines that has vast fourth dimension capabilities,
Capabilities. Yeah.
which allows them to create cloaks of
Of
invisibility.
invisibility.
So, let's take It's from here. Where do you want to go with this topic?
Well, I want them to know that Mr. Trump is using that cloak of invisibility and
Mm-hmm.
is coming and attacking me and sending people to do the same.
Mm-hmm.
Now, they've stolen most of my clothes. I had to go and use money from my husband to buy some clothes for
Our money,
myself.
our money.
And that should not, we have our family to try to look after.
Mm-hmm.
And we are being literally bombarded with all kinds of problems that we normally would not have.
Mm-hmm.
All we needed to have was the money that we have a right to that has been robbed from us and what the government did. Killed out our family, my family. Tried to kill my husband 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
Gave him asthma. It's now
Mm-hmm.
gone.
Caused me to have open heart surgery
Yes,
about 3 summers ago
exactly.
because they tried to suffocate me to death by dislodging one of my heart valves, causing me to lose the ability to breathe. And I came within uh, mm, a few breaths of losing my mortal life on that day in the summer of about 3 summers ago.
Mm.
Hmm.
Yes, that was very scary.
Hmm.
Because these are my family. This is my family and our children, and they're seeing their dad going through that, and all kinds of other things started happening. Systems using the government using people in the public in jobs wherever. All the systems were used against me
Hmm.
and my husband
Yes. Speak a
because
bit louder. You're speaking very softly.
I'm sorry. When we
How many
to hear
times?
people.
Sorry, go
I'm
ahead. Yeah,
sorry.
I was going to ask, how many times today has Donald J. Trump come into this motel unseen and attacked you? About how many times?
Today, maybe as far as I know, 3 or 4 times. That's
Hmm.
when I feel the attack.
Yes, at least 3 or 4 times he's
Mm,
come to this motel on Dundas Lane to physically assault the avatar
mm.
using this technology that allows him to do so from the fourth dimension.
Yeah, but usually in the past, he was attacking me night and day, 24/7,
Hmm.
as if I did something wrong.
Hmm.
They can't tell me what I did, but they only know to attack and abuse. And they've been doing it for decades now, but not as much in the past as they are now,
Yes,
or have been in the past, the recent past.
yes.
These are things that your government is doing to human beings like us. You don't have to do anything wrong to get blamed, and if they don't like you because you won't sleep with other men, that's one. In the United States, same problem.
Mm,
The United States told Canada to treat me like a terrorist.
mm,
Why? I was not behaving like a terrorist. I never did. I did not do anything wrong. They admired me from the beginning and started mistreating me when they saw that I maybe have no right to look as good as the Caucasian European women
mm,
do and men. These are not things that anybody has a right to be doing to another. To know that this is taking place in the society is a shame because they're keeping the parents busy at work while the children are being persecuted, terrorized, and go through all kinds of hell, and nobody seems to care. They don't realize that these children needed training, all the children, by their own respective families. When they're trained, you will see the kind of environment that you were born to be in.
mm,
When they're not trained, you will see hell warmed over.
mm.
And this is what we're getting from Mr. Trump. This is what we're getting from a lot of the systems, the societal controlled by government systems. This should not be taking place, ladies and gentlemen. No government has the right to rob people of their rights and treat treat human beings like this are a problem without them having done anything to be one. Trying to tell people what they can and cannot put in their mouths. A society and a government that does that is not a government that should be running anything. They're obviously underdeveloped if that's what is being done. and things that should not be happening to anyone that is happening shows that governments are involved in this kind of scenario, and I'm fully aware of it, that they are involved in the evils that are being done to a lot of people at different times. You go into a store, you get mistreated. You go to the grocery store, everything's fine, and then after a period of time, suddenly someone whispers something in their ear, and you're getting mistreated. You go out, walking outside to go and get some things done. Other people are set up to mistreat you. At first, you think it's just mentally disabled children or adults. But after a period of time, you start seeing where it's coming from. You know that the systems are controlling or trying to control you, and in the process is controlling children in the school systems, the teachers, the adults, the jobs. So no one seems to have any time for themselves and their families.
mm,
This is another thing that is creating the problems in the society. When you take away all the rights of happiness that people have a right to, then you set up a society to take the opposite.
mm,
That's what people are plagued with at this time. You should not be doing this to anyone. Please stop thinking selfishly and think more openly in order so that human beings would be able to live in a manner in which respect and dignity reigns, so that they can have their peace and quiet, so they could enjoy their lives as mom and dad has a right to also. And women, stop running after men and pushing yourself in their faces with their wives right there. And if you know they're married, or if you don't know they're married, you ask if they're married. And if you know that they're married, don't play around. Behave like a sister, not like someone who needs to hop in bed with someone else's husband or wife.
mm.
These kind of behavior causes all kinds of evils in the society that is destroying people rapidly. We need to make changes to benefit the rights of all beings, and lying does not cut it. Treating people with respect and dignity assures your treatment will be the same. Treating people with love and respect ensures that that type of dignity will be in the society, protecting everybody. When these things are not taught and people are occupied in jobs with people who are dislocated in terms of the quality of life for everybody, and it's there playing all kinds of bad games that is destroying the whole society, this is not something that you want in your society. And you have a right to be able to control yourselves and do the things that you know are right. You could only do that through the freedom that you have, knowing that you know how to conduct yourself, knowing that you know how to treat others, knowing that you know that you love your family no matter what nationality they are. And through that fact, respect must be added.
Mm.
Protection of the rights of all beings must be protected, must be set in loose so that others can connect with it. When we undermine human beings and we treat them like they're less than, we are not really perfecting the quality of life for everyone. We are destroying the lives of other people, children included. So the mentality goes down to zero, and other people are hurting and dying in the process. Like I see, they're trying to send me to my grave by telling me how old I am and all kinds of other things that I really prefer not to speak of. Do not set up a society to behave irresponsible because they will look and behave like low class people.
Mm,
They weren't born to be low class people. They were born to be great beings that were born to learn, to develop, and connect with others harmoniously because of the quality. When we fail to take these things into consideration, we fail our whole society because we're throwing junk into beautiful beings that is destroying the quality of life for all beings. Think holistically, think respectfully, think intuitively.
mm.
so that you can connect with your sisters and brothers harmoniously. They will know what you're speaking of when everyone is practicing the qualities that benefits all.
I'm just watching the camera angles
Yes.
when we adjust our bodies. Um, okay. Um, the people ask the question different ways when we talk to them about being attacked with this invention that is unseen. And they tell us that there's no such thing as cloaks of invisibility, except in the world of fiction, where you have people like Harry Potter, cloaks of invisibility, Star Wars movies like Doctor Strange, um, Star Trek. In science fiction films, cloaks of invisibility are shown as being things that are not part of human life. Now, cloaks of invisibility, for those who want to know, they're always worn by beings who come into our three-dimensional realm from the fourth dimension and higher, um, and move among us unseen. These include extraterrestrials, mystical beings like centaurs, gypsies, fairies, gnomes, angelic beings, ascended masters, gods, and even your departed loved ones. When they come from the fourth dimension or higher into our three-dimensional realm, they do so in bodies that are cloaked, where they will only show themselves to you physically if they determine that there's a need for them to do so. So, and throughout the history of the human race, in legendary times, people like King Arthur had a cloak of invisibility. I think he used a ring which allowed him to be able to move amongst his fellow human beings unseen. And in different cultures, some other devices such as a hat, um, a garment, different things were used to create cloaks of invisibility by people living at the time. And even in England, apparently, cloaks of invisibility were worn by a group of warriors who went into a part of England and literally devastated and destroyed an army of human beings wearing cloaks of invisibility, and were able to do so because their enemies could not see them. They could only feel the effects of what they're doing to their bodies, in this case, killing them. So, for those of you who say there's no such thing as cloaks of invisibility, I'm here to let you know that it is a garment that is used by those who come from the fourth dimension or higher. And these other beings, they do so, it's part of their genetic abilities to be able to come amongst you cloaked and to show themselves to you only when they determine that there's a need for them to do so. Now, one of the reasons why this cloak is not being identified or being recognized as a fact amongst human beings today is something called code of silence. Now, Avatar, you want to talk about the code of silence and how it's being used to prevent human beings in government, especially, from speaking about the presence of this unseen
What
technology?
I would like to speak of
Hmm.
is what is being done to myself,
Hmm.
what has been done to our daughter,
Hmm.
and why, and what happened to my extended family that were
Yes.
killed, wiped out.
Yes. Using the same cloak of invisibility. Yes. Go ahead.
Maybe seven of them, all dead.
Hmm. Yes.
And no one wants me to leave here to go and see my family, to see if
Yes.
they're okay, if the rest, if there are any more alive.
Hmm.
These are the things that I am worried about.
Mm.
And the government owes me the money that I spoke of, the United States and Canada.
Yes.
And we need that money and we need it now. They've been wasting our time just sitting down in these places, waiting for the money for us to be able to go and get access to the places that we have to go and help our family or find out if they're okay, if any of them are still alive.
Mm.
I have not been able to do that. The Canada, the Canadian government and the United States seems to be working towards blocking me from anything.
Yes.
That's wrong. I have done nothing wrong. I'm only speaking about my rights and I'm showing people how they can get access to their rights as long as they're doing the right thing. No one has a right to tell them that they should go to jail. And I see governments are using all kinds of things that they're doing that is wrong and putting people in jail for no reason. Just like I have been terrorized along with my family um, on an everyday basis, 24/7, most of the times,
Mm-hmm.
but except lately.
Mm.
But this is the kind of stuff that should not be going on. And Mr. Trump has been doing all of this to me,
Mm.
attacking me, abusing me for no reason. And to see some people come up and speaking publicly and making remarks such as you don't say things about anyone or else whatever they're doing to you, they have a right to. I was being done things to decades before I understood what was going on, why it was happening.
Since birth.
This is wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have a society that joins a government that is obviously lying and spending their times doing wrongs, damaging the rights of other people.
Mm.
This is not the rights of any government to be able to do. They are breaking laws that defy the rights of other people. I'm hearing people speaking about the system, never about the people. They're the ones that we have to make sure are happy.
Mm.
They're the ones that we have to make sure that whatever we do does not harm them, does not create problems for them and their families. Whatever we do, it's important for us to do in a manner in which does not aggravate and terrorize human beings, like women terrorizing other women, going after other people's husbands and boyfriends,
Mm.
like men doing the same thing.
Mm.
These are things that do not work in a society when you want to live in harmony, when you want to live in peace, when you want to know that your family are safe. This is not the way to live. You have to use your ability to recognize how you treat people respectfully and why it is important that we do so and not take advantage of anyone. I've seen too much evil going on all over this world that should not be going on. And now they're trying to blame human beings like me for things that I've not done. Why? Because I have no right to speak about what shouldn't be happening in the world that was wrong. And that's not true. I do have that right. I was born with it.
Mm.
I am your God,
Mm-hmm.
and you have been terrorizing and persecuting me and my family, thinking you're superior because I won't fight back physically.
Mm.
What you are doing is creating evil in a society that could be beautifully enjoyed simply by the goodness of people's heart and how they conduct themselves, especially because of how they're treated by each other.
Mm.
Why
Mm-hmm.
should we
Go ahead.
live under those conditions, allow systems to control us night and day, have people come into your room and deform your mouth, deform your eyes, deform your ears, your nostrils, your body,
Mm.
your
Joints.
joints, your knees, the ligament of your body,
Your
in your
heart.
body, your heart,
Mm.
your
Attacking you.
chest, your
Attacking
waist, your
fingers
tummy. And the worst you can receive is when they kill you.
and attacking your rectum and your womb
Exactly.
continuously.
That's
Mm-hmm.
exactly what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And there are many things that they're doing that should not be done.
Mm-hmm.
These are things that I cannot remember all the time
Mm. I do.
because of, well, please go ahead.
Oh, well, the avatar is being attacked from the top of her head to the tip of her toes.
Quite
She's
true.
being attacked in this vicious, senseless, evil manner for decades. At birth, they tried to kill this infant god. One of these unseen criminals went into the maternity ward and put his hand over the maternity ward. She was born in Trinidad and Tobago, put his hand over the mouth and nostrils of this infant god and tried to suffocate her to death. She survived because one of her sister gods told her, hold your breath, play dead. She did exactly that. And when this unseen criminal assassin was convinced that he had killed this infant God because he saw this star of light, this
A star in the middle of the
a star,
forehead.
a light, star of light or
Mhm.
star.
A star, it's sort of glittered.
Okay, a star, a glittering star in the
At
middle of
least
the
that's what I
forehead.
was told,
Yeah,
because by the time I grew up, it was gone,
yes,
and a bunch of grapes
on
on
the
the
left
side of my
shoulder.
left shoulder. Yeah.
He knew that she was a god, and so he thought he killed her. She survived that assassination attempt because of what she did when one of her sister gods told her telepathically, play dead and hold your breath. So, since she was born, people, this being has been targeted by US government using this technology, attacking, assaulting, even raping as a child. When she was about 6, 7 years old, she used to feel this discomfort inside your womb at
Very
different times.
strange. Yeah.
And
At
you,
the time, that's how I felt. It was
yes,
very strange. And why is this happening? What is it?
hmm and
Could you
so,
believe this?
yes, and the crimes that she's been put through over the decade, we put that in her autobiography, book manuscript, unpublished, called The Autobiography of a God. Um,
But let me tell you before you
yes.
continue, what I discovered when I came here, I was an adult.
Mm,
There's the same thing they were doing to me, and it
mm,
felt exactly like
yes.
what was being done to me in my own country,
hmm So,
or the country I was born in.
mm, the knowledge that the being who is known not only as the one, the avatar is not only the incarnation of Lord Jesus, as we've told you, she's also the one who lived as Lord Buddha and Lord Krishna and some other deities over time. She's also the one, as she told you, who is also known as your as she is the one who's also called her divine majesty, the great goddess, because this is the being, the original being in existence, who dreamt herself into existence, then dreamt existence into
Into being,
being, and
and
then
then
dreamt
dream
beings
beings
into
into
existence. And she did so, people, an eternity ago. In human terms, thousands of trillions of years ago. So she is also the eternal leader of the group known as the Committee of Gods. Every true God is a member of this sacred committee. Most of these members are female gods, the vast majority. This group has been serving as the oldest, largest, and highest authority in existence for thousands of trillions of years. And they number people in the trillions. So there are trillions of gods who make up this committee called the Committee of Gods, headed by the Avatar, who is the eternal leader of this group. She comes here amongst you to show you how to upgrade
and
yourselves,
uplift.
uplift, and upgrade your lives, to show you how to access the treasures that you're carrying, both spiritual and genetic treasures that scientists call, in this case, your genetic abilities. 97% of that they have determined, classified as junk DNA. So your supreme being, who is a female god, comes amongst you, and she brings a member of her family who lived as Einstein. 1955, I left this planet and returned in 1957, August 23rd, to work with the Avatar as a newborn baby boy in Jamaica. And we came together in 1975. Wonderful, magical union.
Hmm.
We both knew that we had a love for each other. I saw her the first time I set my eyes on this goddess. She, I came off a bus. You want to tell that story?
Go ahead, Nat.
I came off
Memory.
a TTC bus that was traveling along Eglinton Avenue, came off the bus and was about to walk up the sidewalk into the street that the bus had parked beside. I looked up and saw the most amazing sight. There was this goddess who was floating on air. She was dressed immaculately. The hair was full, glowing, and it had a tripod. And apparently, that tripod was created by the sun, natural sun, sunlight created this tripod on the avatar's hair. Her hair looked amazing, full, rich, and it was on her shoulder and beyond. She was wearing this uh, New York fashion. She was dressed in pants that hugged her body, dressed in her feet was dressed in high heels, and she was wearing this jacket that had the pants had tigers on the side, and the jacket I found out later had a tiger on the
In the
back.
background. And
So
two small ones
and
at
two
the front.
small ones on the front. So when I saw this side, she was the most beautiful at the time. I would say black lady, black young woman I've ever set my eyes on or heard about. So I was just stunned to see this goddess floating along the sidewalk. And when she floated past me, then I turned and she went into the bus. I turned and I had on this jacket of many colors, like Joseph in the Bible. So I turned and looked as the bus drove away, and she told me that when she saw me and floated
The
past
light
me
is not
or
good
ran
yet.
past me, lighting's not good.
Mm-mm.
Maybe this is that she turned and looked, sat down near the front of the bus, and turned and looked to see me as I walked up the sidewalk towards the home of a friend of mine named Danny. So the meeting was magical, and we both recognized that we had a connection when we first saw each other, and that and the rest of the story is history, literally. So your God, the being who brought existence into being and beings into existence thousands of trillions of years ago.
No, no,
She's
go ahead, go
here
ahead. You just-
amongst you in the body of an African woman. Now you say, why would the supreme being come to live amongst you as a woman of color? Well, the reason is because most of the people on this planet who are persecuted the most are people of color, especially those of the African race. And the gender that is being abused of the two genders on this planet is a female gender. So your divine, your supreme, the your mother then and father comes amongst you as a member of the oppressed race and the oppressed gender, as a woman of color of African heritage. And so she's here, and men, because we have been taught that we are the ones who should run things, control things, be in charge of things. We refuse to recognize the authority and the abilities and the knowledge being brought to them by this God. And so, over the decades, she's tried to speak to different people in groups, different settings, and she's been continuously blocked and prevented from doing so. We have tried to bring her story to you through the social media platform, Facebook and YouTube, and we have been continually blocked from doing so by the unseen criminals who continues to come into a place where we live
Mm.
and to uh, turn to damage the audio, the video, to make sure that the broadcast is disrupted, and to make sure that while the avatar is speaking, she's also being attacked, physically assaulted with this technology by people, criminals, especially Donald J. Trump, the emotionally bankrupt, morally, emotionally malnourished, morally bankrupt, mentally unstable man-child president. And so he is a person who's doing most of the damage to the avatar and our daughter over the decades. And he's the one who's going to be first removed by her sister and brother gods when the time comes for them to do so. Donald Trump is called a dead man walking because he's behaving like the same demonic being or the being who became demonic in his behavior and thinking, the one called Adolf Hitler. Same mentality, same playbook, same attitude that he should be in charge of life on this planet and that he is superior to everyone else. He knows everything and no one can tell him anything. He does not have to listen to any advice given to him, and that he will decide every issue on his own without consulting anyone, and that he will never ever take responsibility for anything that he says or does that is wrong, harmful, misleading, or deceitful. So Donald J. Trump is the one who's also known as the Antichrist because he is practicing the behavior that Lord Jesus taught 2 centuries ago, 2,000 years ago. So he's practicing all the qualities that are the opposite of what she teaches, what she taught 2 centuries, 2 decades, 2 millenniums ago. That's why her sister and brother gods have identified him as the Antichrist who's here amongst human beings to pull the human race apart, divide and destroy the nation known as America, and to turn this planet into a place where about 90% of human beings will be killed or exterminated. And the virus that is now sweeping across this planet, the coronavirus was created by these unseen criminals inside the American military, those controlling the military with these black op programs, and they transported this virus unseen and planted it inside one of the provinces of China. Today, this virus is now causing the entire planet to shut down and is causing all kinds of anxieties, fears, and alarm in the minds and hearts of human beings because it is destroying, disturbing, desecrating every aspect of human life. And it's in the early stage of its course. As Lord Odin said on the November 6th show we did, this winter will be hell for America and Canada. And we are starting to see the early signs of this state of hell that this nation, Canada, and the US, and other nations around the world will suffer because of the presence of a virus created by these unseen criminals and is now set loose to do tremendous damage of biblical proportions to human beings across the entire surface of Lady God. Fortunately, some of her sister gods have mitigated the effect of this virus on the lives of children, those under the age of, say, 18 or 19. They are not harmed by the impact of this virus as those in the older groups, adults and older, are being infected because the gods took steps to protect the children from the impact of this virus by making sure that they are hardly ever infected with this desecrated, decimating, destructive virus. We'll talk about the coronavirus in another show in more details, but as we speak, Donald J. Trump and others who are using this technology to attack the avatar and our daughter, myself sometimes, and many people across this planet, they're continuing to do so. And as the virus sweeps across the planet, their crimes will become exposed by people such as us, so that you, the human race, can become aware of who is creating these crimes, who has created this virus, and the intention for human beings, which is to kill about 90% of the population of the human race, and then be able to control the 10% of the population with them in charge, establishing a new world order with evil as the center and the heart of this government or society they intend to establish on the surface of this planet. But it will not happen because your mother, the creator, is here with a number of her sister and brother gods. A number of them are currently inside, living inside inner earth, which is a vast, which is occupied by many civilizations, humans and others, for ages now, and they're developed, evolved in their thinking and behavior. So Trump and Trudeau may think that they are not going to be held accountable for the crimes that they have committed against this family and continue to commit against this family using this technology. But we are to tell them that they are badly mistaken. They will be held accountable. The money which the gods have determined must be paid to the avatar and her family, $40 billion each from the US government and Canada, US dollars, and most of which will be used by the avatar and myself to help uplift and upgrade the lives and living standards of millions of human beings across the planet. This money will be paid, and this technology being used to create havoc on this planet, what the Avatar calls um, silent holocaust, will be dismantled and removed from this planet by the gods at some point in the future, or by members of the human race who bring this information forward, who bypass this code of silence and do so knowing that the survival and the well being of the human race is at stake, and they will then speak out and take steps to identify where these two machines are inside the possession of the American military, and to take steps to make sure that these machines are apprehended and dismantled. If they don't do it, her sister and brother gods will do that at some point in the near future. This machine, by the way, was used to assassinate my brother, Lord Michael Jackson, who lived for 50 years on this planet as the angelic being um, known as
Michael.
the he lived in the world of the fairies, and I forgot the name blank, but Michael Jackson lived on this planet for 50 years, and he was assassinated on the day that he departed from human life. As he told me in dozens of hours of conversations I've had with him since he departed from human life, uh, quickly and unexpectedly, he told me that, Andrew, I hovered above my body near the ceiling and watched as two shadows gave themselves a high five after they recognized that they'd taken my mortal life from me. One of these two shadows, who was wearing a cloak of invisibility, is a human being known as Donald J. Trump. He assassinated my brother, Lord Michael Jackson, who today is called Lord Michael Jackson because he was elevated to the status of a god about 2 or 3 years ago. They also used this technology, people, to assassinate the one known as President John F. Kennedy. One of his bodyguards, his body was invaded by an unseen criminal when a cloak of invisibility entered his body through the ears, occupied it, and used him as a Manchurian candidate. Blew, uh, fired, used his pistol and shot off the top of the president's head. Left this bodyguard's body, and without him having any knowledge that he was just used to kill the person that he was assigned to protect. This technology is also being used, has been used to create or start every major armed conflict on this planet today, including World Wars One and Two, revolutions, uprisings, and coups d'etats. It's also being used, people, to occupy the bodies of human beings who are vulnerable and also have issues, and use them to commit serial killings and mass murders, especially in the United States. So, a technology that God's created to be used by human scientists to heal, protect, and improve the quality of life for mortal beings on the surface of Lady Gaia has been weaponized for over a century now, and is being used to commit a number of massive crimes against human beings, including Avatar, Galacta, and her family, and Lady Gaia herself, who has been attacked for over about a century with this technology to keep her from being able to use her natural abilities to control her different weather forces and patterns. And this technology then doesn't belong here on this planet. And currently, as we're telling you, it created the coronavirus and they implanted it, teleported themselves to that province in China, planted it inside that province, and watched it as it spread its infectious and devastating impact on the lives of human beings and will continue to do so. Lord Odin said not only that this winter will be hell for American Canada, but also that in the summer it's going to be worse than it was in the winter. So, for those of you expecting this virus to run its course in the next few months or so, it is only getting started. It's going to change the way that human beings live, the way that they interact, the way that the different organizations on this planet operate, and the values they place on commodities and assets instead of on people and the well-being of the different life forms living here. So it's a virus, even though it's created to destroy human life, it's going to be used as a cleansing and a purging virus to be able to bring about changes in the thinking of human beings where they can reconnect with the values that they truly should be connecting to. That is valuing and treasuring human life and other life forms and working together to build a world that works for everyone instead of chasing assets and status and using their lives to create problems for other human beings because they're taught and told that that's part of their nature and they cannot change or remove the biases that they carry. So, what I'm telling you is that there is a new way of being that's on the horizon waiting to surface across the outer surface of Lady Gaia, and the person bringing this ancient, sacred way of thinking and living is your creator living amongst you today as the spiritual master known as Avatar Electra. So that's all I have to say at this point in time, and the Avatar allowed me to speak at length, and thank you, Avatar, for doing so. We're 47 minutes into the broadcast. We are Do you want to say anything more to our audience
No,
about?
just blessings to you all. I wish you the best of everything. And regardless of what I've said, remember one thing, it's for the best for everyone to understand that in order for us to get anywhere, we have to work on the quality of ourselves. And many of you do not seem to do that. So it's important that you become aware of it. So you have a better life in the future. Every time you come back, you don't want to be as bad as before. You want to get better and better each time.
Mm,
That's the idea.
hmm.
Blessings to you.
Yes,
You've been watching A New Way of Being, hosted by Avatar Lecture and
Andrew, go on.
on Facebook, on YouTube Live.
Yes,
Thank you for listening.
yes.
Blessings to you.
Goodbye.
Bye bye.
Got the kiss in there in time. And oops.